Okay, Tuesday, June 1st, I'm Tom Novak. This is your Adisseo Novak Weather 30-day outlook for the month of June. Of course, lots has happened during the month of May. We are well into the growing season now across much of the United States and southern Canada, and some places need rain, and of course others don't, and we're going to get into that here. Here is the total precipitation on the departure from normal over the last month. This is during the month of May, okay? I just wanted to quickly show you that there's been more than enough moisture in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, stretching east throughout much of the Gulf coastal states. And a bit of a surprise, it actually extended back north and west into the Colorado Front Range and eastern portions of Colorado, and even further north up into the western portions of the northern plains has received a pretty good amount of rain here during the last 30 days. Now, what is not a surprise, and we expected this, drought conditions are starting to deepen over the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, portions of the northern plains. And I got bad news for them, and you'll see that here in just a little bit. And a bit of a surprise, but it was relatively dry over portions of the Mid-Atlantic, Tennessee River Valley, and that dryness also extended south into Florida. As you can tell, moisture just seemed to stream back to the north and back to the west from the Gulf of Mexico into portions of the western plains states, and that really was the predominant pattern as a northwest flow, dry northwest flow, dominated the northern and eastern portion of the country. Now, over the last 7 days, real quickly here, you can see where most of the precipitation has fallen. Central southern plains and then portions of the northeastern United States, where it was quite dry here in the southeastern United States, and of course over the northern plains and upper Midwest, where they really desperately are needing the rain. All right, let's look at the drought monitor. And here is what you see right now. This drought monitor was released late last week. And look at much of the western portions of the United States are burning up. They need rain there. Of course, the Dakotas have been really dry into portions of Minnesota over the last several months. And much of the eastern and southern portions of the United States wet. All right, and I'm expecting it to continue to be wet here over much of the southern and eastern United States. I do expect some hot and dry weather to develop over the northern plains, upper Midwest, and portions of the Corn Belt. And then those of you in southern Canada, I expect drought conditions to start to ease, and that may bleed south into North Dakota, which would be good news for those of you in the extreme northern portions of the United States as a storm track starts to develop from Montana north into southern Canada. Now, I mentioned about that storm track. It all comes down to the jet stream. This is the river of air at 30 to 35,000 feet. And here's what we got as we head into the first week of June. You can see this northwest flow now starting to actually move east. And eventually what happens by the June 6th through June 10th period, a jet stream starts to surge north into southern Canada. This is where the storm track and some severe storms are going to be located, the way it appears, as we head into at least the first half of June. That would be over portions of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, North Dakota, portions of the northern plains. I think that's where the impressive storms are going to be located in storm track. That should bring much needed rains there. And look at this. This is an upper level low over the southern plains that just kind of sits and churns for at least the first half of June, the way it appears. That, like I mentioned, this pattern stays into place through at least the second week of June. This is right around June 10th now, and look at how this jet stream is digging over the western coast and then just surging north into southern Canada, which would keep most of the inclement weather, as I had mentioned, out here in the plains, portions of the northern Rockies, and meanwhile, the eastern portions of the United States, especially the Corn Belt, portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, I think you're going to really start to dry out and heat up as we go through time. And the GFS computer model guidance shows this pattern sticking at least into the middle portions of June before we may start to get a relief for the second half of June over the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes region. All right, like I mentioned, here's the jet stream structure coming into the west coast and then moving northeast into southern Canada. This would produce a storm track and some much needed rains up there in Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba. Meanwhile, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, the Corn Belt, Illinois, Indiana. I got a funny feeling you're going to heat up and dry out, or dry out even more than what you have already as we go through June. And then here's that upper level low that's going to create precipitation, and this is just where they don't need it over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. I think that's going to continue certainly through the first half of June, and that pattern may hold tight even into or through the month of June. As far as temperatures are concerned, here's the heat. A building ridge over the central and northern portions of the United States is going to produce temperatures that are going to be 10 to 20 degrees, I think, above normal in that area of the United States. That would mean temperatures well into the 80s and 90s. And look at this. You want some relief? Imagine this, relief as far as temperatures are concerned over Texas. You know, they should be in the 90s and 100s in Texas as we go through the month of June. And it may be hard-pressed to even get into the 90s over portions of Texas, especially during the first half of June. And here's that storm track from the northern Rockies through southern Canada. That'll separate some colder than normal temperatures over western Canada from this heat bubble that is developing over much of the northern portions of the United States. Now, the Climate Prediction Center also kind of agrees with our maps here from Novak Weather and Adisseo. They're thinking it's going to be warm over much of the northern portions of the United States through the next 30 days, while Texas and the deep south and southern plains are colder than average. And here's where the precipitation is expected from the CPC now, over Texas, Louisiana, and much of the deep south, and hopefully some rain here over the northern plains and southern Canada. We'll have to see. All right, that's your 30-day forecast for the month of June. Thank you for joining me, everybody. I hope you have a great month. We will talk to you in the middle of June, and then, of course, a 30-day forecast in July. Take care.